like to welcome Emily Sheehy-WIlkins, our program today. I do have a brief intro. So Emily's moved to Humboldt County from Berkeley, California. In 2008, she entered the Child Development Program at age of 2. Since then, she's worked locally with at-risk youth for a little over a year. She's been a volunteer coordinator at CASA, also serving as a CASA Volunteer for young girls in foster care. And in her free time, she enjoys walking her dog at the beach. Please welcome Emily Sheehy-WIlkins.
Thank you for having me. It's always wonderful to come and present to Rotary groups and see all of the people in the community who are spending their free time in this way by bettering our community. It's such a gift of working at CASA to sort of constantly be surrounded by volunteers who are dedicated to making our community a better place, and I see some of our volunteers here today, and of course our wonderful dependency judge is here, and we just adore her, so it's great to be here, and thank you so much for asking me to be here. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about CASA because people hear about it on the radio, people see our flyers, but then sometimes I have people come in for interviews, and even in the midst of their interview to sign up and be a CASA, they're not really sure what we do. So CASA is a nonprofit program in Eureka. We are just the Humboldt County branch of a national nonprofit that serves children in foster care by pairing them with an advocate from the community. So we have volunteers from all over Humboldt County who come to CASA and get trained to work with children who are in foster care. So that training looks like learning a little bit about how to work with kids who have been traumatized by abuse and neglect in their homes. And then also the training covers how to write a court report. So what we do is write court reports that sort of outline the experience of a child's journey through foster care. So our advocates come, they receive training, and then they're paired with one or sometimes two if there's a sibling group. In my case, 3. I have 3 little CASA kids. So they're paired with those children, and then they spend time with them. So our volunteers, what we ask for is a commitment of 1 to 2 hours a week, and they really just go out into the community or come over to CASA and spend time with that child, going to the zoo, going to the park, building a relationship where ideally the child views them as an adult that they can trust and open up to, a stable person that they can look up to, hopefully have some role model of good behavior, and then the CASA just gets to connect with all of the adults in the child's life. So teachers, doctors, mental health clinicians, the foster parents, the social worker. We make contact with all of those people and make sure that everyone is on the same page. So a child who's having educational difficulties but is in a foster home with 5 other children may not really get the services that they really desperately need in their school. A CASA advocate can be checking in with the foster parents and the social worker and the teacher and make sure that an education plan is made. A child who's having behavioral issues, and again, maybe they're in a group home and there's not a lot of services for them. Their CASA might be able to recognize some of those signs or be witnessing some of that behavior and really reach out to the social worker and make sure that mental health services are being provided. So we see it as like a safety net for children in foster care. They don't always have one stable adult who's sort of walking through that process with them. And in those cases, we see kids who don't get all the services that they need, and they really kind of fall through the cracks of the system. And we just want to be sort of the putty under there catching them. I had the experience of training our volunteers over at CASA, so if any of you are interested in becoming a CASA advocate, I'll be your trainer. But also I was recruited as a CASA, so I am a CASA volunteer. I've worked with 3 girls, and they live in Arcata now. They're back with their mom, which is great. And I've been with them for a little over, well, almost a year and a half now, and just watched their progress from being in a foster home where they were just starting to kind of get comfortable and getting to, you know, take them out to the park for an hour, take them out to the mall to get an ice cream, whatever they wanted, and just build that relationship with them, and see them get into basketball, you know, get into school, and just watch their world sort of expand. And getting to be a part of that process has been the most rewarding thing that I've done. So I really personally have a huge attachment to the CASA program at this point. And I haven't been, because they've been in such a good position, the advocacy work that I've been able to do has been more just around making sure, again, that they're safe all the time, and that they were looking forward to and ready to be returned to their mom. So I've just loved it. There's no special background that's necessary to become a CASA. People from all different backgrounds, education levels, lifestyles, come and are able to be our volunteers. We look for a commitment of about 1 year, and obviously there are cases that wrap up in less than a year, there are cases that go on for much more than a year, but that's sort of the time frame that we're looking at. The training is a 30-hour training. It's 15 hours in person and 15 hours online. And we offer continued education and then also supervision. So what we do really at the CASA office is, you know, supervising and guiding our volunteers so that, you know, we don't finish training and say, all right, you know, get out there and do the thing. We have supervisors who are there supporting our volunteers, making sure that they know of all the resources available in the community. If a volunteer has a rough day, somebody to vent to. And then they also take them to court, teach them how to, or go through the process of writing court reports together. So it's really a supported position as a volunteer, and we always hope that our volunteers feel really comfortable and confident in what they're doing. So I've kind of skipped over a little bit of information as far as, you know, our county has a huge need for CASA. We have a lot of children in foster care. We're among the highest in the state as far as number of children per capita, and so we have a huge need here for advocates also. And it was really interesting to watch that presentation about retention and how do you get more people involved. CASA advocacy is really, really important, but it seems like everybody out in the community kind of already knows about it, and they've kind of already made their decision about whether they're going to get involved or not. So coming out to meetings like this and kind of trying to plant the seed of you know, maybe not right now, but in the future, you know, where we as a community want to spend our time. And I just, you know, when we talk about the long-term benefits of a CASA, I look to early childhood mental health and the benefits of having one stable adult who is sort of walking through life with a child is just, it has an unbelievable effect. It's one of the main resiliency factors children who are in foster care, but then also children in general. Children who have one person who's really looking out for them, who they always know they can turn to. It has such a positive impact on their education, on their mental health, on their physical health. So we really view it as an unbelievably important position. And I have a lot of people who come to me and say like, wow, a year of volunteer service is a lot, or that seems like a really big commitment. And my experience as a CASA has been that I kind of came into it feeling the same way. Like, what if I don't want to do this in a year? What if I want to get into some other type of volunteer service? And then I met these 3 beautiful children, and I'm just completely obsessed with them. Like, I don't ever want to know my life without them. So that 1 year of service has now, to me, hopefully will be a lifelong relationship that I get to maintain in one way or another. So it's so funny for me to now look back at that, 1 year of commitment, that seems rough, I ideally will know them, into their adulthood. So we do see that. We have great, I love that our little office is such a homey environment, and that our staff, some of our staff members have been there for 20 years. So we have kids who come back and they're adults now, and they have their own children, and they come by and let us know the impact that CASA had on their life. And we also have folks who come back and are not doing very well and still look to CASA as a resource. So I just really love that. To go into a little bit of detail about our funding, we are a nonprofit, and 80% of our budget comes from fundraising in the community. We have some major events every year, and we are always looking for volunteers to help us out. We have a big night dinner and auction, which is really fun to go to. And right now we're kicking off our CASA Kid Walk. And Kid Walk is a fundraising season from August to October, where community members, as individuals, families, friends, coworkers, service organizations, come together and they just fundraise in whatever way they want. So we really try and leave it up to individuals, and some teams raise $100, some teams raise tens of thousands of dollars. But it's really just about fundraising in any way that you want to. And then we come together for our walk and celebration on October 3rd this year. So even if you can't make a team, or you don't want to make a team, you should definitely come out for our celebration, because it's just a great way to get involved and also just enjoy CASA as a program in Eureka. And we do have some other volunteer opportunities just in our office, in our smaller events, and once you kind of get on our radar, we'll just email you to death. So if you're interested in just picking up some small volunteer experience with us, just get on that email list. Well, now none of you are going to sign up for it, because I just outed myself for how often you'll hear from me. But I just will end by saying that I've just loved being a CASA, and I really, really appreciate what all of you are doing here. Just to derail myself for a moment, watching that or hearing that this month you're focusing on suicide prevention. That was really the thing that switched my gears from just child development into sort of more social work, child development. Going to a speech from the Hoopah Warriors, which is a teen program in Hoopah that and listening to their staggering teen suicide rates in Hoopah. It was just in that one moment that I changed my career, and that was like 6 years ago. Just everything's different now. And so getting to serve kids in our community is just absolutely my passion, and I hope we'll see some of you. So thanks for having me. Do we have any questions?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So the great thing about CASA is juvenile court is closed for the privacy and confidentiality of the confidentiality of the children mostly. And so, and everybody has attorneys, the kids have attorneys too. But CASA really is the voice of the community. They bring that in regards to those kind of things. And then what you find about the children in dependency court isn't so much that there aren't other children in other socioeconomic strands that are suffering the same things, but they already have natural supports. They may go to school, have friends, other things, and the children that come into juvenile court don't have those connections in a natural way. And so CASA helps develop them, and whether they get returned to their parents, those connections have been expanded and they're healthier because of it, or if they're not in place in some other permanent plan, they have those connections. And so it really is, it gives the gift to me as the judge to know kind of the voice of the community, not just the legalese that everybody's saying, but it also then gives the child the ability to have a connection different than what they've been involved in, because often, based on their lives they've had and because of the level, they've been isolated in a number of ways. And so it is, and it really does, I mean, they say one significant adult can make a difference in a child's life, and it's absolutely true. You see it all of the time. And while, it's a one-year commitment, there's CASA, well, I don't think they're any volunteers anymore. They've stopped being volunteers, but they'll still come to court for their CASA kid who is still involved, and they're sometimes the only one that the youth calls when they're in trouble. And maybe you don't want to sign up for all of that, but in those stages it makes a huge difference. And so it sounds like a kind of a weird thing to jump into, but if you really do have some time to spare, it totally changes lives.
Any other comments or questions?
This year our club is very involved with Bayside Community Hall and helping to refurbish that. And it makes me wonder a little bit whether we could have a closer relationship with CASA and maybe even have some kind of a project where not necessarily individuals volunteering, but where we're helping to refurbish part of the facility, something like that. So it's just a thought that I know you have a lot of support in this club.
Thanks, Art. Anyone else?
What was the date of the walk again?
October 3rd.
Is that Thursday?
So it must be a different date. I have,
That's what I just saw. Maybe I'm looking at it.
The 5th is Saturday.
yeah, it must be the 5th.
It must not, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I have our
Probably the 5th.
flyers for it, but then this morning I was getting them out of my car and I see that they're from 2 years ago, so that must be where the 3rd is coming from. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for having me.